So Steve, a very exciting 2025 season ahead, I think everyone will agree. Of course, the first big change this season was out with the old and in with the new. Puma are our new kit supplier. How exciting is it to have them on board?
Yeah, really exciting. We worked with them at Fleetwood for a number of years, off and on. They've always provided a great service, great product, good people to work with. So really, really excited to get them on board, but also a thanks to them really, because we were left in a little bit of a difficult situation with the previous partner, New Balance, and financial issues that they were going through just before Christmas at the worst time you could possibly get for a football club. There was nothing really we could have done about it. It's just one of those things. Fortunately, Puma, who we got a relationship with, we were able to get on board, get them down to Waterford and basically pull a rabbit out of the hat and perform miracles to get us where we are today. Naturally, you want your first team kit out there for Christmas and, in under every Christmas tree of a Waterford fan, but it wasn't to be. They did manage to get enough out there, I think, to put us with brilliant amounts of stock and also gives us an exciting opportunity in the next few weeks to roll out the home and away shirt and also the women's away shirt, the bespoke separate away shirt for the women. So real great product range coming forward, and thanks to Puma, it's a great brand, and I know it will serve the club well.
At the end of every League of Ireland season, it's always quite difficult for fans. They become attached to players and stuff like that. And the nature of the beast, of course, is that long-term stays are not regular here. How difficult is it to say goodbye to certain players that have bedded in, or is it really just a professional exercise?
Maybe less so for me. I can't say I'm personally attached to a lot of the players because I'm not here long enough and I haven't been around the club long enough. But I know certain players do attract that longevity and that real connection with the fans, and especially if they are local players as well. So I understand that sometimes there is a special relationship and sometimes you may have to overpay for that special relationship to keep them on board. But as with any relationship, or most relationships, there comes a point, certainly in football, where it suits both parties to move forward. So those who have been with us, and we can talk about Darragh Power as one of those, Niall O'Keefe, etc., serve the club fantastically well, and leave with our best wishes. And they will always be welcome back. And I know they will have real fond memories of their time at the football club. So maybe a little bit less passionate from myself, but really understand it as somebody who's been involved with football, what this does mean to players and fans alike.
And of course, the nature of the beast of outgoings is incomings. And I think over the last couple of weeks, there's been some tremendous business done by the club. Just from speaking to people on the streets, everything is very exciting. How excited are you guys behind the scenes with the business that Waterford have done coming into the 2025 season?
Yeah, I think we've done a better job this year. Obviously, proof will be in the pudding, of course. But when I say a better job, I'm thinking more maybe strategically. We've taken more time over things. We've had more time to spend with Keith, with the people who provide us with the recruitment ideas and opportunities. So I think we're a little bit more satisfied. Maybe I feel like we're a bit more organised this year in the players we've brought in. There's more time being spent on interrogating their backgrounds and why they might fit. It was essential because I think everyone could see that we had the shape of a good squad, but maybe didn't have the depth, maybe didn't have the right depth, should I say. Maybe lacked a bit of the, I suppose, older, more experienced elements. Maybe one or two in those areas was key. So as the season sort of moved on to the second part of the season, I think we all saw that we just didn't have what those other clubs might have in the background to keep them moving forward. So I think I feel a bit more confident that certainly we're being a bit more strategic this year.
It's not just new arrivals on the pitch where a lot of work has gone into in the off-season. There's a lot new developments in the stadium as well, Steve. Can you tell us a bit about what the plans are there?
As always, improvements in the stadium are needed. There's only a limited amount of money to do things, but I think it's important that we do try and move things forward every year and show some improvement. So there's going to be sprinklers in the pitch. There's going to be a new set of toilet block being built over the coming months. We're looking to further develop the fan zone so it's a bit more appealing for fans to sit down and maybe have a drink. And I think we're positioning it such that you can watch actually the football from those little zones as well. We're looking at improving the seats, might not be quite yet, but we're always looking at improving areas of the stadium. I think we're going to bring some retail into what was the old sweet shop. Well, we're working with the council on trying to bring in a 5-day week offering for coffee and snacks, so we can deal with the demand on the Cork Road there from the vehicles that pass by. There's nothing more frustrating than having somebody shouting or speaking over the PA and you can't hear an earth what they're saying, or dreadfully tinny music blaring out. I think it's important for the whole fan engagement, match atmosphere. If you want people to enjoy that, you don't want to be blaring out music they can't hear or irritates them. So I think the new PA system, another fantastic improvement to the RSC.
Now, as always, it being our sister club, there's loan deals with Fleetwood this season as well. Can you talk us through a little bit of a few of those and how exciting they are on both sides?
Yeah, it's been difficult. Fans will see that we've tried it with certain players where maybe it hasn't worked. Other players it has worked. It's been something that we're going to have to continue to work on in a bit more detail. Not every player, just because they might be perceived as a good player, is going to naturally move to Waterford and really flourish, because there's so many factors. Moving is one of them. These are young boys predominantly playing in different systems, different style of football, away from home. It's not just going to work because they're essentially might be considered a good footballer. But we're reflecting all that. We are trying to find the right characters, the people who it will work for, in our best opinion. And as such, it's really important that the players we have at both clubs, because I'll come on to the other way as well, the loans into Fleetwood. It's important that we find the right people and where it feels like it fits their pathway of development. Balancing sporting success, because we don't just want to throw players in just for their development. It's got to impact this club, because we want to see this club do well in the league and in the cup, etc. And so it's about finding that right blend. Maybe before we've just been a bit gung-ho and sent players over and hasn't quite worked. But I think you'll find that Steve McMullen, goalkeeper, as young as Stevie is, a real solid character and one player we've got high hopes for. And Tommy Lonergan from St Pat's has enjoyed some first team experience at Fleetwood. We just felt he needs more game time. So I think he's somebody with an experience of League of Ireland, has tasted League Two and League One a little bit last year with Fleetwood, and he just needs more game time on the pitch. So they're two good profiles where, for different reasons, they work. Similarly, on the other way around, and fans may not know, we've got Ronan Mansfield in at Fleetwood playing in our under-21s. We think that strengthens his development. Maybe another half season or season or 12 months over at Fleetwood might then bring him back into the reckoning for the first team squad here at the RSC, maybe in the summer or maybe for next season beyond. So I think it's important that we work both ways. We've got a lot of work going on behind the scenes with the academy now, talking about the depth of players across both clubs, because it's important that we can discuss a pathway which works across both clubs. One player that might not work here might actually work better in an under-21 system in Fleetwood to come back over here, not necessarily sat in Waterford's first team where they may get less game time and then maybe only exposed to under-20s fixtures here, which might not have the extent of an under-21s game over in Fleetwood. So it's a work in progress, but we think we're in a better place than we were when we sent those first loans over here. Certain players who've come on loan have ended up being permanent. We've seen Sam Glenfield, where maybe his time was up with Fleetwood at the moment, and maybe more suited Waterford, but still under the radar to come back if that was to be the case. So it's not an easy thing to do, and we haven't got it right all the time, all the way in the past. So I think it's just one thing that we think we're improving on.
And finally, Steve, you mentioned the academy there, of course, in Fleetwood and here, but I'm not sure if people know just how much effort and work and depth there is to the academy here in Waterford FC. Can you just speak a little bit about that for us?
It is a deep, ingrained part of the football club. They're growing down the age groups. We've got pre-academy boys now. We've also got the girls' teams in there. We are growing the staff numbers all the time. There are people now spending far more hours than maybe they were previously, and being paid for those hours as well to support the development of the club. So it's important that we're always still trying to grow that part of the football club. One thing on that area though, and I would hope in due course that there is some investment that comes into it, because there's only so much really that we can justify investing into that area ourselves. I think at some point the FAI, whether that's through government or wherever it comes from, will and does start to support some investment into some of the roles in the academy, so we can add further value and ensure the development of those boys, which may now be needed here certainly from the age of 16 in Ireland, which might have been previously done over in England post-Brexit. It's important that the depth and the processes can work over here, so those boys aren't lost to a system between certainly those key development age groups. So we'll do our bit. We keep investing more. We keep trying to bring in some of the operational processes from Fleetwood, supporting the good work going on here in the ground with Mike Gagan and Sean Gagan and the guys. And it's a developing, it's one to watch. And another maybe positive that fans don't know is that David Breen is also now involved both with the under-20 squad and the first team setup, which I think is a key link to ensure that he can champion the best boys with Keith and the team, so they get their say and their trust starts to build in relation to those players as well, and their development with a key person within the football club. So there's a lot going on in that area.
What are the ambitions for the coming 2025 season? Obviously, everyone was very happy to stay up last year. Is it a case of more of the same this year, or is it about pushing on, do you think?
Tough question. It's a competitive league, as we know. We saw that last year, and I think the competitive element, there's going to be a stretch, certainly with the success of Shamrock Rovers in Europe, and which is incredible for the league, but it does put added pressures on clubs like ourselves, and while their success ultimately brings back in more revenue to clubs like ourselves, there's going to be some real heavy competition at the top of that league, certainly from those clubs who are in Europe. What can we do about it? We've got to find our own way. We've got to plough our own furrow to be the best version of ourselves we can be. We certainly don't want to go backwards. Can we punch into that top little group this year? I don't know. Who knows? But I think the ambitions are to certainly do as well as we did last year. And can we do better through some of the recruitment we've done? It's a sport. Who knows at the end of the day? But I think we've given ourselves the best chance through the recruitment we've put together. But we're not under any illusions about how strong and competitive this league is, right down to the clubs 1 to 10.
Mm-hmm. I think 1,100 or over season tickets sold so far this season. Big number. We know that the Waterford fans are well known for their rabid support, but how important do you consider the fan base here in Waterford?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I think it's one reason why, initially when the owners came in and looked at the club, that they bought into this football club, because it was felt as a secret soccer city with the history of the club, and the time in Europe 30 years ago and beyond, and all that is understood around soccer in the city. It was the fans were huge, so to see as many come this year as maybe did last year is really pleasing, and maybe a little bit of a surprise, because I wondered and worried a little bit about, was that crest of a wave, new owners and all the sort of things like that might wane a little bit as the season sort of petered out. But fantastic to see that the numbers are broadly the same as they were last year, and even given a little bit of an increase in prices, which we've had to do because costs are increasing. So yeah, fantastic, and to be supported by that. And I do follow the social media and the Facebook groups, and there's a lot of talk, and it's brilliant. I find it fantastic that the fan base is there, and hopefully we can bring more success and maybe, who knows, grow it a little bit further.